Donald Trump has come out in support of Hungarian President Viktor Orbán, who has severely eroded the country's generation-old democracy, which honestly isn't that surprising when you consider the fact that Trump has in the past supported Rodrigo Duterte in the Philippines. He absolutely loves Narendra Modi in India, Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil, Kim Jong-un in North Korea. The list goes on and on and on. When someone tells you who they are and who their friends are, you should believe them. Now, Bernie Sanders called Trump out on this, tweeting, Trump wants to do here what Orban has done in Hungary: weaken democratic institutions, curb press freedom, and rewrite election laws to entrench his own party's power. The threat to our democracy could not be clearer, and we must act boldly to protect it. And Trump does seem in favor of much of what Orban has done in his own country. And let me go ahead and read through that so you can kind of compare. There's some parallels between his leadership and what we've seen with Orban in Hungary. According to Amnesty International, for instance, under Orban, the government continued to undermine judicial independence and public confidence in the judiciary, while women and transgender people were discriminated against in law and in practice, and asylum seekers were refused safe entry at borders and were expelled. And according to the New York Times, Orban and his party have steadily consolidated power in Hungary by weakening the country's independent and democratic institutions, rewriting election laws to favor his party, changing school textbooks. I mean, the list is so similar to what's happening here in the United States, curbing press freedoms, overhauling the Constitution, and changing the composition of the judiciary. Now, overhauling the Constitution isn't something that Republicans have tried to do yet, but many things on that list are similar to what we're experiencing here in the United States.
Yeah, they're just brazenly admitting it. Orban proudly declares that he's in favor of illiberal democracy.
It's amazing.
Do you know what that means? Like, normally, this is not about liberal or conservative. Liberal democracy just means a democracy that is the American version that we all love, including the right wing claims they love it, right? That means, yes, you have voting, and on top of that, you have protection of minorities. And so, by the way, I mean, they don't mean minorities as in Black, Latino, that they happen to be minorities here. Obviously, Hungary has different minorities. And by the way, some states in our country, some blue states now, white people are the minority, but they are also protected by a liberal democracy, right? And Orban just says, I don't want that. I want an illiberal so-called democracy. And he's stripped away all the protections that you normally get in a democracy by attacking the judiciary, the press, etc. And almost every commentator says that he is slowly strangling democracy in Hungary. But for Tucker Carlson and Donald Trump, that's not the bug, that's the feature. So they look at that and go, oh, that's a blueprint right there. All the reporters are saying he's strangling democracy, but he's doing it in a subtle, slow and steady way so that the country can't fight back effectively. Bingo, that's our guy. That's our guy. It's amazing that they're admitting it publicly. But there's no checks left anymore, and they could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. So Tucker Carlson thinks we got, over 750,000 dead in America. We told them not to get vaccinated and they believed us. We all got vaccinated. Tucker did, Trump did, they all got vaccinated. And we told our sucker idiot voters and viewers to not get vaccinated. They'll do anything we say. So you know what? The rest of the press, by the way, has lost credibility. They're not gonna believe a word they say. So we're gonna go talk to a fascist openly and talk about how great it's gonna be to strangle democracy, and no one's gonna care. And that's exactly what happened. So now Trump is going, yes, that guy who's the fascist in Eastern Europe, can't get enough of him.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm obviously not surprised that Trump would endorse Orban. I mean, again, I gave you that long list of other terrible leaders across the globe that he's been supportive of, including other autocrats and dictators. But nonetheless, I did want to get into some details in regard to other right wingers and how they're so supportive of Orban as well, including Tucker Carlson. But before I do it, I also wanted to just note, isn't it fascinating how, like, my mind always goes back to the arguments that were made against Colin Kaepernick when he was leading that protest while kneeling during the national anthem. And the main argument was, oh my God, it is so disgraceful. It is so insulting to our troops who fought for our freedoms, because their freedoms are so important, right? But at the same time, they seem to be very much in line with what Donald Trump likes, what Tucker Carlson likes, which is the erosion of our democracy, which is the support and admiration for autocrats and dictators. And so now I go to Tucker Carlson, who last fall, Carlson, the top-rated Fox News host, decided to broadcast from Budapest for a week, calling the nation a place with a lot of lessons for the rest of us.
Wow.
Former Vice President Mike Pence visited Hungary last year for a conference on conservative values, and the American Conservative Union has been promoting plans for a gathering there dubbed CPAC Hungary later this year.
Guys, you have to understand something. There's right-wing politicians all across the globe and all across Europe. They could have gone to any of them. They didn't pick him because he's right-wing. They picked him because he's killing democracy effectively. Wow. So historians will look back and go, how could they not see fascism coming? The leaders of the right wing in America went to celebrate a guy who's openly against democracy and is against immigrants, by the way, anti-Semitic, the whole spiel, right? And talks about how the Jewish financiers are the puppet masters. I mean, it's the exact same textbook, right?
Yeah.
And they're brazenly doing it in open, and we get it, you guys get it. Mainstream media and the Democratic establishment whistling past the ground.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, I can't get mad at the GOP, people like Trump, people like Tucker Carlson telling us who they are. We know who they are. They've been pretty transparent and open about it.
You almost have to give them credit for being how open and transparent they were.
The thing that enrages me is that the political party, the opposition to people like Trump and Tucker Carlson, the individuals who present themselves as the warriors for the little guy, the individuals who want to protect our democracy, are weak, feckless, corrupt, and they're just liars. Okay, they can't even pass watered down legislation meant to protect our democratic process, even as they hold the levers of power, both in Congress and the executive branch. I mean, let that sink in.
Yeah, guys, Joe Manchin is saying he's asking for permission from 10 Republicans to do voting rights so they don't have to get rid of the filibuster. You're asking permission from fascists who are actively trying to kill our own democracy by limiting voting rights, who are saying, yeah, we're going over to that fascist to learn lessons on how to kill democracy, and you're asking them for permission to actually protect our democracy? They just told you they're not in favor of it. So many of them voted to decertify a perfectly valid election in 2020, and you're asking their permission? Nah, look, if the fascists take over, which now is on the board, it's actually possible in America. It's not hyperbole. It is possible. And historians look back, they will say that corporate Democrats were nearly as responsible as the Republicans because they let them do it and they didn't fight back at all.
Their stock portfolios are looking real good though.
Yeah,
Get those gains, boys and ladies.
Oh, you know, there was a story last week about Nancy Pelosi and her husband made millions of dollars in the stock market, and then Nancy Pelosi said, we're not going to fight against corruption.
Free markets.
Free markets, insider trading is free markets. No, that's the opposite of free markets. So as they gorge on their corruption, they can't be bothered to look up to see that the fascists aren't coming, they're already here. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.